Good morning and welcome to today's webinar on how to become a successful business coach in 3 steps. You are going to be hearing this morning from our Chief Revolution Officer and founder, John DiJulius. Before we get started, and while everyone's joining, I just want to mention a couple things. There will be a live Q&A after John finishes presenting this morning. So any questions that you would like him to address while we're together, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can type in any and all questions and we'll make sure that he addresses those before we end. If there's any other technical content, questions, things that John says that you love, anything like that, or if you want to connect to learn more after today's session, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. And that's also on your bottom of your Zoom screen. There should be 3 dots that say more, and then you can pull up the chat. So I will be there during the entire session answering any and all content or logistics questions that you have. And again, any questions that you would like John to answer live at the end of his presentation, go ahead and put in the Q&A section. And we are all set, and I'm going to now turn it over to John.
Thank you, Lindsay. Hello, attendees, and welcome to our webinar. Little background, I've started 4 businesses in the past 30 years. The first one, literally 30 years ago, is John Roberts Spa, that has grown to one of the top 20 salons in America, all located in Northeast Ohio. The second one is the one I spend, pretty much 99.9% of my business time in, the DiJulius Group, which is a customer service and employee experience consulting company. And then about 8 years ago, we started a nonprofit called Believe in Dreams, which is a nonprofit in Northeast Ohio, making dreams come true for underprivileged kids. And then under the DiJulius Group umbrella, we have a couple different brands. We have I've written 5 books. We have a methodology that we've worked with some of the best customer service, customer experience companies all over the world. We have the Customer Service Revolution Conference that we put on once a year, every fall. This year it's in November, where we get hundreds of people from all over the world to attend. We have the Customer Experience Executive Academy, which is like a CXO, a master's degree for customer experience. And then we've recently, our pivot, our pandemic pivot was we started the CX coaching model. So let me explain what kind of difference is, because people get a little confused. The DiJulius Group consults with some of the biggest companies in the world, and on customer experience and employee experience. Why we went to the customer experience coaching model is where we license our methodology to coaches, to be entrepreneurs, to go out and use our methodology, is because there was a whole segment of the business population that we couldn't serve. We're probably target market is 100 million and above, Fortune 500 companies. And we not too many companies, probably 50 million and lower, could really hire the DiJulius Group as a consulting firm, and that was a huge market. It's significant. So we created the CX customer experience coaching model for coaches to start their own business and do this and service a model. And we've probably licensed over 20 coaches in the past year and a half that are all over the world doing this. And then, so what's the difference between CX coaching and customer experience executive academy is this. You learn the same things. The Customer Experience Executive Academy, like I said, is a master's degree in customer experience. And if you work in corporate America and you are in a position to be the chief experience officer or chief customer officer, that's what the Customer Experience Executive Academy is for. And that sells out every year. We get 25. We only take 25. It's a year-long course where people fly to Cleveland every quarter for 3 days. And, once it starts, we don't add anyone until the next course starts, typically a year later. So some people, get them confused. And if you're working in corporate America and do not want to start your own business, that's what that is. If you're thinking about starting your own business or already are an entrepreneur, that's what the CX coaching is. Okay. So let me give you kind of state of service. We are in a recession. We've been in a recession for over 2 years, a customer service recession. Okay. While sales have been up for a lot of industries, as you know, just as a consumer, as a customer, and maybe as a business leader, service is down, right? Customer satisfaction since the bad pandemic has been sinking like the Titanic. According to the American Customer Satisfaction Index, overall customer satisfaction has now dropped in 9 of the past 10 quarters. It's at its lowest level in 16 years. Okay, why? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Employee burnout, low employee morale, high employee turnover, staff shortages, poor hiring, lack of service aptitude training, supply chain issues, and not managing customers' expectations, right? That's across all industry, which is infuriating the customer. So, as a result, so one of the things in all industries, the top 20% of customer satisfaction companies just outperform. They crush the service laggers, but they also crush the stock market in any industry. So the companies that will dominate the next decade will be the ones obsessed evolving the experience they provide to both their team members and clients. So I can't stress enough, if you're going to become a coach, this is a growing market, the customer experience and employee experience space. So one of the things that I love to teach future is you got to find your ikigai. Okay. Your ikigai is a Japanese word for a reason for being. Ikigai. And that is when 4 things come together, have to overlap. First one is you find something you absolutely love, but that's not enough, right? Because there's a lot of things we love, but maybe we can't be great at it. So something you love that you can't be great at is a hobby, golf, whatever that may be, right? So the second thing that has to overlap is something that you can truly be great at. Now, there are a lot of us that are great at things, but we don't love them. That's called a job. Okay. So the first 2 is find something you love that you can be passionate about, that you can be great at. The third thing is that you can make a great living at. Okay. And then the final thing to get your ikigai will make a positive impact on the world, right? That is your ikigai. Find what you love. Find something you could truly be great at, that someone's willing to pay you well for, that makes a positive impact, and you got your reason for being. So that's what you need to do. If you're going to be a coach in anything, make sure it follows, those, 4 things as far as your purpose, because you want the next phase of your life, right, to be the best phase of your life, personally and professionally. And Mark Twain said, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why, your ikigai. So something that in all my businesses, our mission, our leadership mission, and even for our coaches in CX coaching, we say to all our employees, all our coaches, we remind them of this. We want you to make more money than you ever thought possible. Okay. However, we want you to feel that the money was the least valuable thing you received from being part of this brand. That's really, really important. Okay. So let's talk about the 3 things what makes a successful coach. The first one is you have to have that passion for content, right? You gotta love what you're going to share and facilitate and help companies and leaders do differently. The second thing is you have to be an entrepreneur or someone who can sell, someone who can get up and convince people. I just saw a great quote the other day that sales is a transfer of energy and enthusiasm, right? And so when you're excited about something, you got to go out there and you got to build your pipeline and get people excited. And then once you get a clientele, they'll do it for you. But number two is critical. All right. Number two, if you're going to be your own entrepreneur, you got to be willing to create it, because most coaching models do not feed you the clientele. And third, right, you have to have a methodology or a blueprint to follow. So a lot of people go out there to be consultants or coaches and they create it. Well, that's time consuming. It is extremely hard. It doesn't leave you a lot of time to build the pipeline and go out and present it once you do get clients, okay? But you need these three things. And, the best coaching models will help you with them. A passion for the content. In the DiJulius Group, we only consult on the experience, right? We don't consult on, social media or motivation or leadership. We go really deep on one thing, the experience customers receive and the experience leaders receive. Okay. We eat, sleep, and drink that. So that's where we are. So let's talk about what CX coaching is and how it fits into those three things. Our mission for our CX coaches, our customer experience coaches, is to be the leading customer experience coaching authority, transforming businesses worldwide. Our purpose is to change the world by creating a customer service revolution. We take that so seriously. How seriously? We have a definition for it. It's my national anthem. I love saying this. All right. A customer service revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what employees and customers experience. This shift produces a culture that permeates into people's personal lives, at home, and in the community, which in turn provides the businesses with higher sales, morale, and brand loyalty. And my favorite, makes price irrelevant. You can make price irrelevant. It doesn't mean that we can double our prices or even raise them 25% during any economy. But what making price irrelevant looks like is this. It is based on the experience your brand consistently delivers. Your customers have no idea what your competition charges. Right? So that is what a customer service revolution is. And it's the best way to recession-proof your business at being great at the experience you deliver, both to the customer and to the employees, right? We've seen the past 2.5 years, the great resignation. Well, the companies that take care of their employees are significantly less effective. So I talked about the 3 steps. You gotta love the content, right? The second thing is is the entrepreneur in sales, which I'll get to. The third thing is have a methodology. Well, that's what we do in customer experience coaching. Is we give our coaches step-by-step methodology that they can coach, and there's 10 methods, 10 stages, if you will, that they coach their clients over a course of 2 years. Okay, once a quarter. And it's kind of broken down like this. It's not always in this order. Sometimes we have to triage it because there's certain things that you see. There's immersion, there's the service vision, relationship building, the customer experience cycle, annual strategy session. So you just kind of see how it breaks down over the course of 2 years. We provide all that for our coaches. Another thing that can get a little confusing is, what is the difference between coaching and consulting? The DiJulius Group are consultants. CX coaching is coaches, right? And we really don't want the two to blend, because consulting is a completely different animal. And we want to keep this as simple as we can for the coaches to scale their business. So the main difference between coaching and consulting is that coaching pulls out answers from the clients, while consultant kind of tells the clients what to do. Consulting is doing it for them, providing them the answers. Coaching is using the tools to help them come up with it. Okay. A coach facilitates, gives directions, and should not be dependent on in between sessions. So that's how we've made the model, where our consultants, we are working with, these bigger companies every week, right? Sometimes flying there, going on site, sometimes or always, having weekly support calls, making sure that they're making progress. The coaching model is not meant to do that. That is meant to ideally do your workshops in your hometown, not getting on a plane, and doing them quarterly with very low contact in between. So these types of companies we've worked with in all industries that have used this methodology. So that's one of the best credibilities our CX coaches have when they go hunting and creating clients is, look, you want to be the Chick-fil-A of your industry. You want to be the Ritz-Carlton of your industry, the Nordstroms, the Lexus. This is the methodology that they've used with the DiJulius Group. So the successful entrepreneur model, the demographics is 5 to 50 million, and it is applied to every industry. Every industry imaginable we have worked in. We've worked in government. We have worked in, the Secret Service in terrorist training. That's rare, but you can see it's heavy in the healthcare, medical, obviously hospitality, business to business. It's huge in, so you name it. So things you get with the CX coaching. The first thing is there's a 4-day CX coach camp where every quarter we come in and train our new coaches that are getting licensed, right? We teach them how to become a successful business owner. We teach them all about the business operations, sourcing and closing leads, marketing and sales, delivering a world-class client experience, dynamic presentation skills. Okay, that's an intense 4-day limited every quarter to new coaches who are getting licensed. The best thing we have, the absolute best thing, probably better than getting trained by me and my consultants on this stuff, is the portal. And Lindsay, who will open and will come back, she is the director of coaches success. So she is always working with our coaches. And we've created a CX coaching online portal that you get access to for as long as you're a coach. And there is so much information on this. It is turnkey, right? You don't, that number 3, I told you about the 3 steps to being a successful coach. First one is love the content. Second one is you got to be an entrepreneur and learn how to sell if you haven't yet. The third one is methodology. You don't have to do that. We've taken that for you. And here's what you get. It's all turnkey, right? There's the calendar. We have agendas. We have marketing resources, just amazing. Customer experience coaching one sheet that you send out to potential clients. Every session I showed you has videos to it for you to watch, has audios for you to listen to, has slides for you to show. It has facilitator notes, coaches notes, and it has the slides you show them. It has agendas. It has the pre-work that you send before you meet with that leadership team of what they have to have prepared for the day of the session. It has client post work. So after the session for the next quarter, what they need to work on. It has, the pre-works. It has the workbooks, right? So everything is turnkey. You don't have to do anything other than learn the material, right? But it is step by step. There's a facilitator guide. There's an agenda. Okay. And there's 2 types of agenda. There's an agenda for the facilitator. So you know what slide and what time you should be at where. And then there's an agenda for the audience, right? So they have, they know, but it's not as detailed as yours. So again, slides you use with each client, agenda in PowerPoint or Keynote, depending on what you use. There's so much stuff. We provide, a profit and loss P&L template, a lead tracker. So I'm not even scratching the surface on what is in that portal. but it is endless. Everything our coaches need to run a business, to present a topic, to market, right, is in that coaches portal. Now, what else do you get with your CX coaching? Well, we have a coaching community of all our existing coaches that they meet virtually once a month. Okay. They meet quarterly in person or virtually. So it's a passionate CX coaching. And I will tell you, you'll learn more from the other CX coaches than you will from anyone from CX Coaching Global, which is the DiJulius Group, because they're out there doing it every day. They've stepped on, they've stubbed their toe, they fix it. And that this coaching community is just amazing. So you get together quarterly education events where you come to Cleveland, or if you can't, you attend it virtually. We have an annual customer service revolution conference that all our coaches get tickets to, and we piggyback the customer service revolution conference in Cleveland the day after. That's our fourth quarter education quarterly. In the beginning, we have weekly and bi-weekly training calls for our coaches in their first 90 days. We share the multiple revenue streams, which I'll go into. Referrals. People call us, and either they're not a fit for the DiJulius Group or they're calling to hire a coach. We send them out to our coaches. You get books, the Customer Service Revolution, a case of books, because that's one of the best lead gen is by giving the books out to CEOs and saying, read this, I can help you implement this with your team. So we help the coaches create their sales experience and what they need to do at each touch point, creating network leads, the call, how to close and get clients in the pipeline. So all of these things is things that we train our existing and future coaches on. So I'm just, going through this really fast because we don't have to spend a lot of time. We even help, create a short blurb, because once you start a new career, everyone's asking you what you do. Friends and family besides, potential leads. So it's to get them excited about it. We don't believe in cold calling, right? We believe in everything should come from your existing center of influence. So we talk about how you create a center of influence and constantly
calling
works that. Okay. We help you with social media. We have blogs. A lot of our coaches write their own blogs. But we give you so much content that you can share with your audiences, and then you remark about it. You make comments, you talk about how you can help them with this. So I'm just, we have a website. A lot of our coaches create their own website, social media, CX coaching leads. These are all the different things. We even have case studies to help until you create your own case studies to help you show the power. So this is one with a mortgage company that the DiJulius Group worked with using this methodology, right? The example here is their biggest issue each month was 15% of their potential customers who are already approved were opting out before their loan was closing, okay? Which they call the VU, because their customers are veterans, right? And so they stood for veteran opt-outs. Every 1% of a VU was costing New Day USA over $400,000 in revenue a month, a huge problem. After finding out what the primary cause of their VU were, lack of weekly communication and updates by the New Day account executives, we helped them create a system that ensured that their account executives were staying in touch with their veterans at least once a week, okay? And as a result, New Day's VUs went from 15% to 8% in just 4 months. That reduction of 7% meant an increase in over $2 million in revenue each month at no addition expenses to advertising and marketing, right? So that's a big company, right? But you start showing the impact, and whatever you charge doesn't, mean that much when you can, show the return on experience. Another great example we love to show is a client, Worldwide Express. It's a shipping company, could not outsell high attrition. What that means was they were losing 19% of their customer base every year, right? So they had to bring in 20% new customers of equal revenue to break even. So we help Worldwide Express transform a customer service culture by launching their customer service vision, improving their consistency at every customer service touch point, and building a strong customer relationship that was not predicated on being the lowest price and having service recovery in place when a customer was unhappy. And here's what happened.
So there was a key point in time where we hit about 80 million in sales, and we were growing fast, but we hit this point and we couldn't grow because our attrition rate was so high. We had 19% attrition, and we just couldn't outgrow it. And
customer attrition, right?
Customer attrition. And my friend here said, listen, let's get John DiJulius involved. So I met with John, and he told me about all of his customer experience programs. And I said, listen. He said, listen, why don't you try it out for a year? I said, we're going to commit to 3 years right now. And I turned to every single person in my company. I said, we are committing to a 3-year program, because that has to be the difference between us and the other 10,000 people who are out there selling our customers. So we hired them, and in 18 months, our attrition rate went from 19% to 3%. Our sales went from 80 million to 120 million.
So you can see the value of what our methodology delivers and how it can help you or any customer experience coach, create leads and credibility until you have your own case studies, which now several of our coaches have their own success stories. So, our practice of how you generate leads, we teach that all the way to the coaching model. We have a company service aptitude test that you could send out that people take, and it really shows where their strengths and weaknesses, and they get these results back. So we have so many things, too many things to show on this webinar, but I want to jump ahead to revenue opportunities, okay? The revenue opportunity, each coach can set their own daily rate. Okay, we help and encourage, but it's totally up to them. The process typically with a client is 2 years. So when a client hires you, there's no contracts, right? They could stop anytime. That's what keeps us. All right, every quarter, with the quarter 4 usually have 2 back-to-back. So it's 10 sessions per client over the span of 2 years. So, if one client and you charge $3,500 a session, that's $17,500. All right. A lot of our coaches charge more than that, 5,000, session. I think even more than that, but we're going low here. So this is what one client could look like in a course of a year. Session 1, quarter 1, you do immersion, you charge $3,500. 90 days later, you come quarter 2 and you do the service vision workshop. And that's kind of how it breaks down per year. And let's talk about just session revenue opportunities. So if you have 10 clients, right, you get up to 10 clients, you're charging $3,500. The annual session days per client is 5. Total annual days you're working doing sessions is 50. So, you could see that creates annual revenue of $175,000. You get up to 15 clients per year and you're charging $4,000. You see how that jumps, and you get to 20, and you're charging $5,000. We do have one coach right now who's been doing it a little bit over a year. Well, he's been doing it a year and a half, but really been doing it over a year. And he just signed his 17th coaching client this past week. And I think he's really close. If not, he's at the $5,000 level. So you can see the math, right? When it just, 20 clients at 5,000, you're doing, 100 days a year. If you have, 20 clients of actual workshops. So session days 100, your free days are 200. You still got 65 that you got to be doing other things, at least 65 of selling, building the pipeline, all those things. So that's, really important is the quality of life. I don't know if you want to get more than 20 clients, because it gets brutal, but some people may, right? So those are the things that we talked about. That's really important. You got to be an entrepreneur. You got to have a passion for the topic, an obsession with helping others succeed, and, the sales, which I kind of put with number one. Let's see what else. I'm sorry. Whoa. Lindsay, hold on. I jumped out of here. Sorry. Little snafu here. Couple more things I want to share with you. Let me go back. We back on, Linz?
Yes, you're good.
All right, good. Setting up success, right? Online coaching portal, the CX Coach Camp. We have those quarterly. CX Encoding education. These are all things that help set you up. License to use the methodology, access to the DiJulius Group team. The investment, really important. So we have a one-time licensing fee of $15,000. And then CX Coaching, access to the CX Coaching online portal, and the monthly virtual calls, the quarterly education events, and the customer service revolution and access to us is $750. So our next coaches camp is September 27th to the 29th. And I think the one after that isn't until 2023. However, we do have a $2,500 discount on the licensing fee for this next coaches camp. So how do you get started? Reserve your spot in the next coaches camp. And then you can get logged into the CX Coaching online portal and start learning. And then you attend the CX Coaching camp. So we can take questions here.
Perfect. And then before I give you questions, I just wanted to mention, because I did not when we first started, that everyone who is registered will get a copy of John's slide deck and a copy of the recording. So if you liked any of the quotes or anything like that, or wanted to see information again, just know that that will be coming either later today or first thing tomorrow. Okay, so we have a question from Greg. And he said he understands the reasoning for the target client to be the $5 to $50 million range, but he wants to know if the methodology can be applied to $1 to $3 million organizations. Will they find success or benefits to the coaching process?
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, a target is a target. Like when we say the DiJulius Group works with 100 million and above. We've certainly had clients, much lower than that, but our target, we know our sweet spot. So I believe your sweet spot is 5 million to 50 million, but it doesn't mean if someone wants to hire you, that's 150 million, or someone can afford you at, 3 or 4 million. Absolutely. And yes, they will absolutely find value. Provided that, they follow the methodology and keep you coming in quarterly. It might, the little concern with if they are smaller is if they try to, only do it once or twice a year. Following the methodology, having a coach come in quarterly, keeping them moving, keeping the momentum, holding them accountable is really key. So that would be my only concern is, you want to help them not cherry pick some of the methodology, because it really builds on each other.
Perfect. That was really a really great question. And if there are no other questions, I think we are all set. Again, I'll send a follow-up with all of the information recapping today's webinar. If you have any questions whatsoever, I have my email and my call booking link in the chat, which you will also get when I email you the follow-up again later today or tomorrow. So thank you everyone for joining us this morning, and enjoy.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you. Oh, wait, John, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I just had we had another question pop up real quick before you jump.
Yeah.
I don't, for the one-time licensing fee, can it be billed out over time, or is it typically due upfront? I'll let you.
It's typically due up front, but I know we've made exceptions and have helped people out. So, that's it would be a Claudia question. Or no, a Lindsay question. I'm sorry. That's something that you communicate with Lindsay about.
Yep. And I will reach out to the individual who mentioned that as well and follow up. So
Awesome.
thank you again, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your morning. Enjoy the rest of your summer as well.